What's up, Wrong Strong family? JC here, and welcome to the Wrong Strong channel. And the videos that I shared on here are for educational purposes or for you to not make the same mistakes that I made and spend half of your life incarcerated, because that is for the birds. Nobody should be in prison unless you deserve to. There's some people that deserve, don't get me wrong. There's some people that need to be in there. But there's also a lot of kids that have made bad choices and are in there for a very, very long time. And it's not a nice place. All right. So, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure that you do. Hit the bell. Leave a message. I'm pretty good about getting back to everybody. And today, we're going to talk about the SINALOA cartel. As you guys know, El Cahpo is in prison for a very, very, very long time, and he won't be getting out no time soon. I used to think that that's what I wanted to be, and that's what my life was going to be a leader of a cartel and be powerful. And I, found out after years and years of getting caught and doing time that there really isn't no successful drug dealer. Eventually, all of them get caught. Eventually, some of them get killed. So, yeah, it was a fantasy, a dream, and it was just something that I led to believe that I wanted because of how I grew up and where I grew up. With that being said, the Sinaloa cartel has always had a stronghold on Little Village just because of its neighborhood, people, houses, the gangs. It's a very, very big area. It's actually a very, very smart plan of attack. Chicago has always been a gangster city. Al Capone. They've seen a lot of gangsters. And Chicago is a beautiful city, don't get me wrong. Beautiful city, beautiful people, a lot of culture. Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Mexicans, Polish, Irish, a lot of culture. Chinatown, Little Italy. There's so much culture in Chicago that it makes it's a beautiful, beautiful city. But it is a tough city with a lot of gangsters in it. And, the Sinaloa cartel had a strong hold on Little Village. You're talking about a plan of attack where they're distributing their product at wholesale prices to a dozen gang members. It was said to be 2 metric tons per month, and a city over 120,000 documented gang members. That's just documented. That's not counting the ones that are not on paper. We call them ghosts. They're affiliated. They're gang members, but they're just not on paper. The cops have not put them on paper as gang members. The way the cops do that is when you get arrested, they take pictures of your tattoos. If you happen to have a tattoo of a gang, then they affiliate you, and that's how you become a documented gang member. The whole thing, as you guys have watched the news and everything, the twins Pedro and Margarito were the ones that testified against El Cahpo and put him away. Pedro and Margarito grew up in Little Village as I and Cato. You guys have seen my story. Cato was a very good friend, mentor, big brother. I mean, you name it. He took a role in my life after I was pretty much... Everybody turned their back at me at one point in my life, and he was the one that reached out and helped me up. So I looked at him as a very, very good friend and, ally. So, and later on, I'll tell you a little bit more about my story, about how I ended up, being a land king and all that stuff. But, today I'm talking about how all these drugs run through this neighborhood. And the reason why it is that you got 20, 30 blocks of nonstop. It's such a big area. It's from like 24th Street all the way up to 31st. and it's such a big, it's miles and miles where the Land Kings have control, and then the Land Kings have one area, then the 2-6 have another area that's huge also, and then you have the outskirts where you have the SDs, the Deuces, then you have another branch of SDs on 18 and Cal, and then you have Cicero. That at that point in time, it was still predominantly Italian. You know, now it's all Hispanic, but back then it was all Italian. And you had the Italian gangs on that side also, you know what I mean? The 12th Street Players, the City Knights, 2-6 had a branch out to the Tutu Boys. And I'm gonna do a video on all Chicago gangs to give you more of an idea of how it was. But the thing is that you're moving so much drugs in such a big quantity at wholesale prices that now these guys are taking them out to Milwaukee, you know, Rockford, Indiana, Detroit, all these other places, and they're making money too because they're getting at wholesale price, so they're distributing through everywhere. I mean, Chicago is a hub because of its location. It's in the middle of everywhere, and in the route to everywhere, it's right in the middle. Right in the middle of the United States. So you could go anywhere from there. You go to New York, you go to Indiana, you could go to Florida. And like I said, with money comes gangsters, with gangsters comes murder. I mean, in 2016, the murder rate, I think it was 764 murders, and you're 50% more likely to get away with murder in Chicago than any other city. So you tell me, with all those drugs coming in and all that stuff, you wonder why like it became so violent. Is because all this money is pouring in. Pedro and Margarito were one of the first guys that I ever seen driving around in Bentleys, besides seeing Bentleys in rap videos, in a poor ass neighborhood. You know, I remember the day that I seen Margarito driving around in his Bentley. I was like, holy shit. And they were the top lieutenants for the Sinaloa Cartel and El Cahpo, distributing tons and tons and tons of cocaine into Little Village in that time. When I came home in 2003, I believe, 2003, I think it's when just one of them, I don't know if it was Margarito or Pedro, had just got kidnapped by that Chicago cop where they asked for the ransom. I think it was $2 million to get him back. You know, and it was the talk of the town. They were pushing major weight into that neighborhood. And with money like that, a lot of problems come. More money, more problems. And, you know, it's never going to stop, man. It's never going to stop. It's been since, you know, the 1900s, 18, whatever you want. It's always going to be there. Al Capone was there. There's been always, money's always going to make people do things that they don't want to do, they don't like to do. But you know what? Money changes motherfuckers, and that's what it is. I grew up thinking that that's what I wanted to be, and when I got my first shot, you know, to go to Mexico and see these guys operating and meet important people, I've met a lot of people that I'm never gonna drop names, but I've met a lot of people that are away for life now and are never coming home. And I used to think that that's how I wanted to be. When I used to go to Pasingan, Zamora, you know, Alahuaje, when I used to go to visit my people in las Islas Marias, when I used to go to Monterrey, to Guadalajara, Zacatecas, all these places. I've even been to Oaxaca. I used to go all these places. I was a kid, you know, delivering money, opening up gas tanks, learning all the pretty much the way to do things and operate, and you know, when to cross the border, whether you're crossing into Mexico or you're crossing into the United States. You know, it was a lifestyle that I used to think that, you know, would make my future, would mold my future, and I would become this big shot caller, this leader. And, you know, I look at it now and I think about it and I'm like, wow, you know, I'm glad that I got caught. I'm glad that I got caught all those times, because, like, it made me see that there really isn't a successful fucking drug dealer out there. There isn't. Eventually, either you get caught or you end up dead. And if you are a very successful drug dealer, then you must be working with them people. You must be giving them, you know, a bone here and there, because there is those kind of successful drug dealers out there that are working with the feds. A lot of people could sit here and say that, you know, they've done this, they've done that, and it's like the dudes that you meet in jail that are like, they were ballers outside on the street, but they don't have money to buy a soup inside fucking prison. Like, it doesn't make sense. So, you know, it's not a lifestyle, man. And I think that in the United States, we've glorified the gangster movies way too much. You know, Scarface, The Goodfellas, Casino. We've glamorized it so much that we've actually made our kids believe that it's cool to be a gangster, that it's all right to be a gangster. And let me tell you, I've seen some of the most tough guys bend their knees when they get slapped with those 20, 30 pieces. And I've seen some of the most hardcore motherfuckers in there cry at night because they miss their fucking family and they want to be home. It's not a place to be, man. It's not a place to live the rest of your life. It fucking sucks. You especially around this time when the holidays start to come and everybody's like celebrating with their families out here and doing stuff with their kids and everything. You're in there, man. You're in there with a bunch of dudes with doing time, cooking what? Noodles and making pizzas out of fucking Doritos and shit like that. Like, it's not life, man. And one of my biggest missions with my channel is to actually spread the truth about that lifestyle. Because you could change. Like I told you guys, one of the most impactful moments of my life is when I went back home to Chicago and to see the same people still doing the same thing. And they asked me, how did I change? You know, and I had to like really think about it for a little bit, because like I changed because I was tired of being in chains my whole freaking life. I spent half of my life in there. And for what? Nothing. Nothing. I ain't got no 401k or whatever that shit's called. Like, I ain't got none of that stuff. I ain't got no retirement plan. I ain't got nothing. So now what? I'm like running, trying to establish my company and everything and do work so I could leave something, a legacy for my kids, my daughters, to be able to remember me and say, shit, my dad fucked up his life, but he came back and left us this. So that's what I want to share with you guys. Doesn't matter what you've done in your past, you could always change it. Every day is a new day. And I'm the biggest example of that. If you look up my story, if you look up what I've been through and where I've been to, you'll see that if I did it, you could do it. And like I said, don't judge nobody. Don't judge nobody. Give somebody a hug and stay in your lane. When I say stay in your lane, is if you have nothing nice to say, then don't say nothing at all. Don't judge nobody. Don't hate on nobody. Hey, if they're doing better than you, then work harder. Don't sit there and hate because you don't have what they have. Just work harder and do what you have to do. This is JC with Wrong Strong. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, subscribe. Hit that bell so you don't miss no videos. We're about to come with a lot of new stuff for you guys. And if you haven't bought my book, make sure you buy my book. Supplement line's about to get released. If you are waiting for the clothing line, I will be leaving the links here on this video. And we'll go from there. Thank you, guys.